Hey guys, good morning and welcome to the Music Producer Hub. I've got a great week of content coming up here for you, tutorials based in one of my favorite music production software, which is Reason. I feel like Reason maybe can be a little bit daunting, especially for beginner users, just due to the way it's laid out and the routing and the auto routing and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to spend the first little tutorial here today talking about all of those kinds of things. So let's get started. The first thing you really need to know about Reason is that it's modeled to look like a hardware rack of gear. So you've got your mixer here, and then you've got more space here for more devices. So let's go ahead and create some more devices. What you do to create a device is obviously you go up to create, and you can have all of your listed devices here. What I like to do is just right click down here in the bottom. You'll have this little menu pop up. All of your devices are right here. So let's go ahead and create a subtractor. In Reason, if you press tab, it will tab around to the back side of the rack. So now you're looking at the back of these devices, and you can see that the output of the device I just created is automatically routed to my first available input on my mixer. So if I were to create another device, say I want to create a Thor, let's flip the rack. Thor, the stereo output of Thor, will be routed to the second slot on my mixer, which is the next available slot. One other thing that you can do with this is if you want to control where the device is routed, say you have a more intricate setup, you don't want it to go right to the mixer, you have other plans for it. If you press Shift while you select your device, if we tab around and look, we see that the output was not routed anywhere. So in bigger setups, that's often really helpful. You can just route things yourself instead of having it auto-routed. So I could route this to any spot on the mixer that I wanted to, if that were what I was wanting to do with that. So that's very helpful. Let's go ahead and get rid of these, and let's talk about adding some effects and processing and how the routing works with that. Let's create a device like normal. Let's go ahead and create a subtractor. Now if I wanted to patch in some compression or some EQ on this, I would just select the device, make sure it's selected, see how it's blue. Select the device, create, and let's go for an M-class equalizer. If we flip the rack around, we see that Reason did all the work for us. The main output is now routed to the input of the EQ, and the output of the EQ is routed right where in our channel here where our device was. So Reason takes care of all that for you. So if I was just go ahead and create another device, say an M-class compressor, it would do the same thing. It would reroute everything. It would take the output of the EQ, go into the compressor, and then the compressor would go into our mixer up here. So Reason handles all that for you. If you wanted to change and have the signal go to the compressor first, you could obviously either reroute things yourself manually, like this, and have this go up here, and that would do that. Or you could delete these devices and create your compressor first, and then your EQ, where is it? There it is. And Reason will patch things that way. There's one more thing I'd like to talk about before we get done here, and that is the combinator. When I first started using Reason, I wasn't really sure what combinators were or why they were so important. I really didn't see a use for it. But as I started using it more, I got more advanced setup and signal chains and all that kind of thing. I really started to see why it was so important. So let's go ahead and right-click and create a combinator. Combinators are always right here. So let's create that, and we can see that the output of the combinator is routed to our mixer just like normal. The cool thing about a combinator is that you can create a whole bunch of devices that are stored within the combinator. What I like to do whenever I start a combinator is create a mixer inside of the combinator. You can either create the full 14-channel mixer, or you can create a 6-channel nice little line mixer here. Let's just go with that one for this tutorial. So now we have the routing back here. Let's take a look. We have the routing from our mixer going to our from devices portion of the combinator, and that all of that output is going to our channel on the mixer. So we've got room now within this combinator to combine 6 different devices and have them all have one stereo output. So we could put in 6 different synthesizers and layer all these synths and get some really cool sounds, and EQ and compress things and add all the effects and processing that we want, and still have just one stereo output from our combinator instead of filling up a whole mixer with all those devices that we want to use. So let's create a couple of devices and see how that's routed. If we click below the mixer here and click create, let's create a subtractor. And you can see that the output doesn't go up to the mixer, it doesn't go up to the combinator, it goes right here to this little line mixer within our combinator, which is really nice. Let's flip back and create a couple more devices and see how these are routed. Let's create a Thor. Let's go ahead and create an NMXT while we're at it. If we take a look back around, we see that these devices are just routed right here into our little line mixer. So if I wanted to patch in some compression on the NNXT, all I'd have to do is select it, create an M-class compressor, and it will patch that in right in line and still stay in input 3. So that's really handy when you start getting into lots of delays, lots of EQs, lots of layered synths. You can store everything right here in one combinator, and then you just take up one channel on your main mixer. You can rename this Synth 1, and you've got one channel there. You can close this up, and nobody would even know it was there. And you're getting all of these layered sounds. You can create some really cool synth sounds because it's triggering all of those devices at the same time. That's really all I wanted to show you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Hopefully you learned something. Leave a comment, let me know. As always, go ahead and make sure to check out the website. I'll link the website below, and also check out our Facebook page. Thanks guys, and stay tuned for more tutorials coming up this week.